Sheriff Hilbrecht, would you pray for us, please?
Sure. Lord Jesus, Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, Lord. We thank you for your grace in all of our lives, Lord. We ask that you would just add your blessing to this meeting today, give us your wisdom and your direction in every decision that's made, and to make decisions that are best for our community. And we thank you for the great community we live in. Commit this day into your hands. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to call this August 15th, 2023 Marshall County Fiscal Court meeting to order. I need a motion to recess for the public hearing on Little John Lane.
So moved. Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Oh, let's see, Roy,
I have a
you
report.
have the information on that?
Yes, so,
Can you share that with us, please?
sure. So, Assistant Road Superintendent Michael Taylor and I went out and did some measuring, but just to give everyone an idea of what's going on, Little John Lane is off Highway 95. It's a dead-end road. It's 1,976 feet long, very American, 1976. The property owner wants to take out 1,076 feet of the county system and close the road to public traffic by putting a gate at his property line. This will leave the county with 900 feet of road left to maintain. All right, as a road reviewer, we see no issues with taking this section of the road out of the county system or any hardships to the public. And I've supplied the commissioners and a few others with a map of the area.
Is there anyone present to speak in favor of removing a portion of Little John Lane from the county maintenance system? Is there anyone present to speak in favor of removing a portion of Little John Lane from the county maintenance system? Okay, one more time. Is there anyone present in favor, to speak in favor of removing a portion of Little John Lane from the county maintenance system? If not, is there anyone present to speak in opposition of removing a portion of Little John Lane from the county maintenance system? Is there anyone present to speak in opposition of removing a portion of Little John Lane from the county maintenance system? Okay, one final time. Is there anyone present to speak in opposition of removing a portion of Little John Lane from the county maintenance system? If not, we will close the hearing on Little John Lane. And I'd like to call our meeting back to order. First on the agenda, guest, we have Elena Blevins.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
So when I was here last month, we kind of just went over the budget, but I decided to be happy to come back and just kind of give you guys a tourism update over the last sort of this 2023 season. But first, would like to go back and discuss last year just briefly because, if you can hit next, we did receive our economic impact numbers for 2022. And so these were really wonderful numbers to see. The tourism industry in Marshall County generated over $85 million in economic impact, $6.2 million in state and local taxes, almost 20 million in labor income, and a little over 700 jobs were created from the tourism industry within Marshall County. So it was a record-breaking year for Marshall County, as well as the state of Kentucky. So congratulations, and we're really excited about that. So, but I know that you guys also wanted just kind of an overview, so I'm here with that. So if you can hit next. All right, so 2023, our marketing campaigns were mostly digital focused. Here you have some examples of kind of what our advertising looks like. We did a combination of digital ad campaigns, print media, out-of-home digital billboards, streaming radio ads with iHeartRadio, audience retargeting and extension programs with Miles Partnership, and then of course we do monthly like Google AdWords, display, that sort of thing, and event-focused Facebook campaigns, as well as our traditional print publications, our travel guide that we do every year. So this is just kind of, you guys don't ever see these sort of ads because these are obviously going out to our target markets in other areas. So, but just kind of, we focused on the Kentucky Lake comeback. We're a generational destination. And other reasons that people come back. They come back for the fishing. They come back for families. Over and over, especially during boat show season, I always hear, I used to go there as a kid, or, you know, I take my grandkids there now. And so we really, we hold a very special place in a lot of people's hearts who have been having family reunions and return vacations here literally for generations. So next. All right, you'll have to bear with me because I've got papers to kind of comment on some of these things. So this is just kind of a quick overview of what our online engagement, our website traffic kind of looks like, as well as our visitor profile. So top 6 markets that we usually see online activity: Chicago, Nashville, Atlanta, Columbus, Louisville, and Indianapolis. We saw over 76,000 users to our site from January until now. And then I kind of outlined where some of those come from, whether it's paid search, advertising campaigns. Our top visiting pages are our lodging page, boating page, events calendar, and family-friendly activities. So obviously we want lodging to be number 1. We want that to be the most visited page because that's what comprises our budget. The visitor profile, these are people who actually were sort of cataloged within our destination. And our top 6 origin markets based on spend were Nashville, Evansville, Indianapolis area, Louisville, St. Louis, and Chicago. Our average visitor spend was $102. That is 6% down from last year. Our out-of-state visitation was 55.4% were overnight, so that was actually up 5% from last year. 89.2% were out of state. That was up 1% from last year. And then 11% were in-state, which was actually down 7%. But we kind of expected that as we came out of COVID. We assumed that our in-state travel would decline a little bit as people were more inclined to go elsewhere. Total visitation by spending data, food 41.5%, gas stations, service stations 27.4%, retail accommodations. Accommodations I know seems really, really low, but that's because a lot of these people, like if you book on an Airbnb, you pay on the platform. So these are, you know, actual credit card swipes. So that's why that number's low. So if they reserve their lodging online, if they paid for it online through a third party or anything like that, then it's not going to be cataloged as actually happening within our location. So this research was
capture the origin
of where,
Yeah.
or I can't really capture the origin of. I can actually, Zartico Research is the one who does this, and I can ask them.
So they're the ones who come up with the top 6 origin markets.
Yeah,
However, okay.
we have a platform, a database with them, and a couple of other just sort of interesting things that they were able to pull for me that I have here that I just wanted to read out. The majority of our visitors at your accommodations were for sports and food in what we call our POI, or our places of interest categories. Our feeder markets that were up year over year were Paducah, Nashville, Louisville, and Indianapolis. Feeder markets that were down year over year were Evansville, St. Louis, and Chicago. Our top visited point of interests were Moores Resort and Marina, Kentucky Dam Village State Resort Park, and Mike Miller Park. Our average visitor spend is remaining relatively flat over year, so it's not necessarily up or down. People are spending about the same amount that they've spent before. Nashville makes up a lot of our spend, but is a low average spend. Louisville has a lower percent of visitor spend, but the highest average spend. So people who are coming from Louisville are spending more money than people who are coming from Nashville. And then Paducah makes up a lot of our visit, but a very small percentage of spend, which makes sense. So, but yeah, so that's just some really interesting data as far as who is coming to our area, kind of what they're spending their money on, where they're coming from. And that is actually, like I said, Zydeco. And if we move to the next slide, I can speak a little bit more on Zydeco. Next slide. I'll let this play.
Maybe it's in the songs we write. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but I know it. Creeks and hills and hollers and a lot of that geography and stuff comes through in these songs, not just mine, all of these folks. Yeah, so for 90 minutes we can get on stage and turn it up and everybody's happy. We're happy as the Lord on stage, and the folks that are in the crowd. If you're not happy, you can have a good time, so you.
So that's just a 30-second highlight reel from the May Day Music Festival that we did Memorial Day weekend. And it kind of taps into some of our allocation from ARPA. So Marshall County received a certain amount of, a certain allotment. And so these funds have to be spent by the end of calendar year 2024. They can be utilized in the similar way that our travel marketing incentive program has to be utilized. So they can be used for marketing purposes, research purposes, or eligible expenses that are related to events and bid fees for hosting events and things like that. So we've used some of the funding for eligible expenses related to the May Day Music Mashup, the music festival. Our retail strategies, we partnered with the city of Benton to hire retail strategies to do a 5-year downtown master plan. That meeting actually happens, they've been doing research, but the stakeholder session's August 31st. We also paid for an annual contract with Zydeco Research, which is the company that just gave you the visitor profile. We've got an annual contract with Granicus. This is going to be crucial and absolutely vital for us to start communicating with our short-term rental property owners to get them on board for the appropriate transient tax collection and everything that's going on with that. And then we also have done some iHeart streaming radio campaigns with the ARPA funding and our out-of-home digital billboards. Now, from the impressions that we have done through our marketing, some ARPA, some are general, it was over 1 million different impressions that we've done through these ad campaigns. So that is sort of specifically where we're at to date on those ARPA dollars specifically for Marshall County. Next slide. So this is, as I was saying, with retail strategies. They are currently in the process of doing the research for a 5-year master plan for downtown. It was a 2-part, phase 1, phase 2, so the tourism CVB was able to cover phase 1, and the city will actually be covering phase 2. So we are inviting the public to an input stakeholder session on August 31st. We work restricted to their schedule, so we did have to keep a daytime meeting. I know there was some feedback that it would be nice to have an evening session, but we are trying our best to accommodate that by having an online forum during the meeting so people can input their feedback and make their suggestions via online, but we'll also record the session so that if we need to have a follow-up evening recap with the public, we can do that as well. Next slide. All right, there was another bucket of money, what we refer to as tranches at the state level with the Kentucky Department of Tourism. It was broken up into a state tranche, what we call the DMO tranche, which is what I just went through for Marshall County specific. And then we have meetings and conventions tranche and then multi-jurisdictional tranche. So we applied for funding within the meetings and conventions. We received $95,000, and that money will go to hosting. We won the bids to host 2 large-scale fishing tournaments in the spring of 2024. I wish I could say which ones they are because they're very exciting, but I cannot yet do that because they have not released their schedule yet. So, but you will hopefully very soon find out who those 2 fishing tournaments will be, when they will be. And then we also won the bid to host a media conference in the fall of 2024 at Kentucky Dam Village. So we got some money to offset expenses to host that conference. All right, next slide. This was the last tranche of money that we could apply for funding for. All of this funding was sort of handled and distributed out through the Kentucky Department of Tourism. The last tranche, like I said, was multi-jurisdictional. These were projects that were, we had to cross boundary lines. So we had to cross county lines. We had to work with at least five other partners. Well, there had to be a minimum of 5 partners to be involved, to be considered a multi-jurisdictional project. So these are the multi-jurisdictional projects that we are involved in. Each one required a 10% match for the total funding request. So we have made those 10% matches. I am actually the project lead for the Kentucky Horsepower campaign. So this will be a marketing campaign that is focused on all things Kentucky horsepower and what that looks like across the Commonwealth, whether it is on the water, whether it's on the racetrack, or on the road. It's going to be a very exciting campaign. I'm really looking forward to it. We've actually hired a filmmaker, a company to start working on getting the content, getting the video. Actually, the company that you saw do the 30-second teaser, they are going to be doing an entire content campaign for this particular project. I'm really excited about it. So we'll start seeing content being pushed out for that in early 2024. So I am the project lead. I am the fiscal agent for that particular project, but it actually has a total of I think 25 partners. There's a few that are kind of I got to make sure they're still committed, but so it's a very large project. Other projects that we're involved in, the West Kentucky Disc Golf Trail. Our office is the fiscal agent for this, so if there's any expenses related to this, we receive the funding from the state to make those payments, but the project lead for this is actually out of Marion, Kentucky. They're currently working on building a new website. Unfortunately, we couldn't use the dollars for infrastructure, so we couldn't build things with the money, but we are building an online website to kind of promote West Kentucky Disc Golf Trail. We're actually, I think, also looking at potentially doing a tournament or a sort of series of tournaments that'll happen at some of the disc golf. So we're currently gathering information on our local disc golf courses. I think there were 7 other partners in this one, so anywhere from Madisonville, Marion, Murray, kind of throughout our region. So the West Kentucky Brew Hop Trail, this was an existing project, but we were able to get some new funding to help sort of ramp it up. So the project lead out of this one is Henderson, Kentucky, and it's moving along really well. So we've got an online app that you can actually go and you can check in to where you're at, and then it divvies out like prizes as you visit the different breweries, but we are included in that project. And then you have the Just Add Water campaign. This will be a marketing campaign focused on all things natural resources and water across the Commonwealth. The project lead for this is out of Hopkinsville, Christian County. The West Kentucky Barbecue Trail, project lead for this is out of Madisonville, Kentucky. I'm still awaiting on directives for what exactly is needed for the barbecue trail. Kentucky After Dark is a project that the project lead is out of Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, and it focuses on folklore and sort of legend. So we will be using the Beast of LBL, the Dogman folklore legend as our sort of thing that we wanted to kind of sort of attract for that particular clientele. But so project lead is out of Lawrenceburg, Kentucky for that. And then the Highway 6880 Wine Trail project lead is out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. We've had our initial kickoff call, but I'm still awaiting direction as far as what is needed from our specific wineries here in Marshall County, Kentucky. All of this funding, we actually, our first round of reporting, is due in September. So all of our documentation and kind of where we're at on certain projects has to be submitted to the Kentucky Department of Tourism as well as the Legislative Research Committee in September. So it's kind of so they know where we're at on getting these dollars spent. So
Can it not be open during the yard sale? You know,
yeah.
we have to put that off. It's dangerous enough down 60.
Yeah, we don't need them
I
drinking
know.
and shopping.
We will not do.
I vote against that one.
I know, Highway 68, the 400-mile yard sale. Yeah, man, that's always a fun weekend.
Free wine and bargain, free wine and bargains.
Yeah. So I don't really know
Park
what
anywhere.
the plan for that one is, but so those are all the projects that we're involved in. They're all kind of at different stages of development, but that's your ARPA update. That's where things are at. Next slide. I did want to invite. I have a save the date, September 6th. From 9 a.m. to 11. Oftentimes I get asked when I go to, which me being a soccer mom, whenever we go to facilities, we get asked all the time, why can't we have a place like this? So this is strictly just from an educational standpoint, just if the public is interested on what sports tourism looks like in Marshall County. Obviously for us, from a traditional standpoint, it's always been on the water. It's been fishing tournaments. That's what sports tourism looks like for us. Is it possible that we have sports tourism on land? I think so. I don't really know what that might look like though. So Huddle Up Group is a consulting firm that is going to come down and just mediate and sort of moderate a just educational session on what sports tourism looks like, what it might look like or could look like potentially in Marshall County, and what kind of programming and things like that. So I just kind of got this meeting finalized yesterday. So this is brand new info, but we will have some graphics to go out for that. And then last slide, brief look into 2024. We're gonna, just because of all the ARPA and all the different marketing that's gonna be going on with those different projects, we ourselves are gonna have a very simplistic marketing tactic that's mostly all clickable ads online, driving traffic to our website. Our hope is to double our website traffic year over year, so we're hoping for at least 150,000 new users to our site. We're gonna focus on our short-term rental properties. We have 166 registered properties. I've got a whole lot of information and data now, thanks to Granicus. I'm very excited about it. We'll be sending out letters to all of them very shortly. And then we will continue research and discussion towards what the most appropriate tourism development project might be. Those are just always kind of conversations that we just are always open. And then we are preparing for a very busy 2024 season for competitive fishing. Spring is going to just be wild. We also have a solar eclipse happening next year, which is not going to be like the one back in 2017. We're not right in the center, but we may see a bit of totality. Paducah is on the range. So we'll kind of just, if there's anything that we need to do to help prepare for that, and then of course focus on our CVB events. I do think I wanted to show you that teaser of the May Day Music Festival. I do think music festivals have a place here in Marshall County. We have such a beautiful atmosphere with our waterfront and the shoreline, whether it's Ken Lake or Kentucky Dam, and I really think that there is potential there to really kind of grow the music scene here that can be enjoyed by people on the water and off the water for our visitors and our local communities. So I think we are going to continue to try to figure out how to develop a music series that fits our area. And then, of course, prepare for our conference and continue working on these multi-jurisdictional projects. It's a lot. So that's an update for you guys. Ooh, sorry, I took more time. I was trying to go quickly, but if you have any questions, it was about 20 minutes, my bad.
So you're going to follow up and send us something on the sports tourism?
Yep.
group?
Literally, I finalized it yesterday. I got the location yesterday, so I thought I'll just announce it, and then we'll have a graphic and some formal information about it. So again, it's just, I get asked the question a lot, and so I thought having somebody come in and just say, here's some case studies, here's what might happen, or here's what could happen, or here's what it looks like for other communities. just to kind of learn, so.
You have an email you're pushing out also on the Benton downtown?
You can actually, that stakeholder session, you were supposed to be able to scan that QR code and register that way, but if you just want to send
Oh, you have
either.
to register.
Well,
Okay.
just so that we knew how big of a space we needed, you can show up. So I think right now we're having it at City Hall, but depending on the RSVPs, we may try to move it either to the Art Center or the library. But right now, it's at City Hall, so you can either email. My office, or just if you want to message the city Facebook page and let them know that you're coming, that'd be fine too.
Anybody have any more questions? Okay, thank you very much.
You're
for all that
welcome.
information, that's awesome. Okay, we've got another public hearing here in just a minute. I'm going to skip around on the agenda just a little bit. We can get a couple more things in. It's not going to take but a moment. Let's see. Need a motion to approve the minutes from the August 1st meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Surplus, Sheriff's Office, I know, need a motion to put those items on gov deals. I know we have a fuel tank. Is there anything else, Sheriff?
No, right now, we're just looking, there's a 2,000-gallon fuel tank. It was purchased back under the buyer's administration. It's been sitting empty. I don't think, Eddie, we used it at all under yours.
Yeah, it's at least since 19.
Yeah, so it's been sitting empty, and we'd like to get rid of that and then utilize that space to put a storage container in, actually.
Move to approve the surplus.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We just got about 1 minute here, so we'll just hang tight for a second.
It come with a full tank?
No, it
Fuel.
sure doesn't. It would be bad fuel by now, for sure.
You can try.
Yeah.
I think we have time for one more thing here. Judicial building lease agreement with the Attorney General's office. Need a motion to approve that.
Move to approve the lease.
Does that need to include for me to sign the lease, Jason? Yes. And
Move to approve the lease and to allow Judge Braggs to sign the lease.
is there a second? Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Need a motion to recess for the public hearing on our road funds.
So moved.
Motion. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Going to explain the state-derived tax revenues on the roads. The first one is Holland Road, County Road 1111, and Sharp Elva Road, County Road 1418. It's a total of $451,544, and that's CB06 flex funds. I need to do those separately. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the court using state-derived tax revenues on roads? Is there anyone here present to speak in favor of the court using state-derived tax revenues on roads? Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the court using state-derived tax revenues on roads? Is there anyone present to speak in opposition of the court using state-derived tax revenues on roads? Is there anyone present to speak in opposition of the court using state-derived tax revenues on roads? Is there anyone present to speak in opposition of the state using tax-derived state revenues on roads? Okay. The next one is drainage structure replacement on Sharkow Road, County Road 1392, $62,400, CBO1 bridge funds. Is there anyone present to speak in favor of the court using state-derived tax revenues on roads? Is there anyone present to speak in favor of the court using state-derived tax revenues on roads? Is there anyone present to speak in favor of the court using state-derived tax revenues on roads? Is there anyone present to speak in opposition of the court using state-derived tax revenues on roads? Is there anyone present to speak in opposition of the court using state-derived tax revenues on roads? Is there anyone present to speak in opposition of the court using state-derived tax revenues on roads? If not, we'll close the hearing and call the Marshall County Fiscal Court back to order. Next up, we have Mr. David Green with the Veterans Support Group.
Thank you, Judge Neal. Welcome all of y'all to our proposal here for the Veterans Memorial at Mike Miller County Park. Let me just say I appreciate the support of the public here in Marshall County for Veterans Affairs and the support of Fiscal Court. I have with me here Leonard Harp, who represents the Marshall County Veterans Van on our Veterans Support Group. And he and Mitch Henson over here of the DAV. We have discussed some modifications for the Veterans Memorial. Let me say that I've been over a good bit of the state and the region, and we have as nice a facility as anyone I've seen. We've got a great park out there, a great Veterans Memorial Plaza, and we thank you guys for that. We've come up with a recommendation to make some improvements in that. And the reasons, number one, to add a 6th flag to the display in recognition of the 6th branch of the U.S. military, the Space Force. We also would like to make some improvements in the facility. I think some of those are already underway to remove some of the decorative plants out there that have kind of overgrown their positions, and this would also facilitate the changes we want to make in the arrangement of flags. And we would like to add a permanent speaker stand instead of the flatbed tractor trailer that we pull out there to use on occasion. We'd like to place it on the opposite side of the memorial, which would leave all that lawn over on the east side for spectators to stand or sit or bring lawn chairs or whatever. And you have the specifics of the modifications there. We want to relocate one of the 5 flags and place a 6th flag so that the 4 of them on the western side are equidistant from each other. And the 2 on the east side, the Army and the Navy flags, they would just stay in place. So we'd be relocating 1 pole and adding a 6th pole to do this. We would also propose that speaker stand go between the 2 flags that will be placed back there, about 16 feet long, 8 feet wide. We don't need as big a facility as the tractor trailer flatbed, and we're looking at something that's maybe 24 inches high, maybe 2 steps to get up to it. With a permanent podium, we'd like to have some wiring in place and some outdoor speakers, such as at ballparks, to get good quality audio. We appreciate all the efforts by the park staff to get that stuff together on short notice, but this would save them a lot of work and I think result in a lot better product, a lot better sound capability. We'd also recommend that we put a roof all over that structure. Other things that will need to be changed are the center monument there, the pentagonal shaped spire, which has on its 5 sides logos of the 5 branches of service. And of course, we would need to accommodate a 6th flag on that, or 6th logo. And the best way we've come up to do that is just to come up with a stainless steel band to go around and cover those engravings and include on that steel band engravings of all 6 services. The other aspect of the modification includes in the southwest corner the alignment of engraved images of the representatives of the 5 military services. We would need to add 1 more. Right now, the shape of it is 2 on one side, 1 in the center, 2 on the other side. We recommend just adding enough of a concrete base to that rather than rebuilding the entire monument and then putting the statue of the Space Force representative. And that would result in an asymmetrical shape, but we don't think that would be unattractive. One thing I did not mention in this proposal that Mitch and Leonard reminded me of, we have been doing extensive work to catalog all the bricks, all the names that we have on display there, and we will endeavor to keep that current as we add bricks to it. And we suggest that perhaps we put that directory in the base of the speaker's podium and come up with the best idea that we can for a weatherproof access of visitors to find a particular brick that they're looking for. You have a drawing there, very professional drawing there. You can tell I'm a graphic artist. And I think it explains maybe better than my words do what we'd like to do with this. Are there any questions?
Okay, just, I'm trying to figure out where we are here.
Road
Where's
ends right here.
the road?
Right here's the road end. The offices are over here. Over here is where the offices.
Yeah.
a little bit.
Right side of the paper is
Brittany.
north. If you turn that over on its left side, it'll be oriented correctly.
Usually the stage is put right here, Monty, on the east side.
Yeah.
Right here, this is the podium. I went up there and looked at it with them. There's 2 bushes there right now that's pretty overgrown. Brittany's gonna take them out. There's a very good area right there to put that little 8 by 16 podium, about 2 steps high, where about 4 people can sit behind the podium and somebody can speak, and I think it'll look really nice. We was out there looking at it. Gotta really have steps on both sides of the podium going up. You was talking about that, something for the registry, you could maybe on the front of that podium have a,
That's what we were thinking.
yeah,
Yep.
where you
Put
can
that
stand
right
on
there
ground
in
level
the
and look
center,
at
yep.
that, yeah.
Facing the circle.
Mhm.
This is the first time the court has seen any of this. I would like to make a motion to table this to give us time to go out on site and look at this, especially with the addition of the speaker stand and ask questions and address it at the next meeting.
Yeah, I don't know how we do it as far as to make sure that we're not all out, not all out there at the same time. He's already been there, but I guess we can't go. The 3 of us cannot go at the same time and look at this. Because, yeah, I'd like to know, I'd kind of like to see, I just don't want to, and I know y'all care more about the aesthetics of it than I do, but I do as well, since we have the approval over that. I want to know, I want to feel comfortable that it won't take away from, I don't know, I just worry about what the stands, I'm thinking of what it looks like when we have speakers there, and it blocks everything. I know that's on this side, I get that.
That's the reason we come up with, me and him went out there and we come up with this plan to put it over here. It's low profile, it's, it drops, the ground drops off pretty good, not too far after that.
Yeah, the only
So-
thing it blocks from the memorial is the valley that falls off behind.
Yeah, to where all the junk's parked. But I'll be glad to go out there with you and show you. It really, I think it really enhances the place myself, that low-profile podium over there, and we do it out of the stone, sort of like our pavilions, build it on a order of the small pavilions that's already there in the park. I think it would really look good.
So are we doing this, or the support group, or funding wise, I guess?
We'd certainly be involved in it.
Okay. We don't have a price, though. Right?
No, we haven't got that far,
Okay.
no.
We're just looking at what it's gonna look like.
Any other questions from anybody?
Do I need to make a motion on that?
Well, I made a motion to table it
Okay.
so we can have time to
I'll second it.
review that motion second. Is there any discussion?
We'll just,
All those in favor to table this to the next meeting?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all
Thank you,
for
guys.
all your work on
Thanks,
this.
sir.
And we just want time to go out on site and look at everything and think about this a minute before we make a quick decision.
One other addition to the Mike Miller Park. At the entrance there, you got a fine sign, Mike Miller Park. To put a lighted sign on top of it that you could show what's going on at Mike Miller Park. Whether it's veterans, ball games, Christmas tree light, thing and everything.
like
We
a
actually
like a
have
digital
some
sign.
pricing on that. We had a company come out and do a demonstration and everything on it.
Okay. I didn't know.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Okay. Mr. Pagel, July personnel changes?
Yes, sir. July personnel changes. Start off with Jeremy Hicks, School Resource Officer, term 7/31/23. His contract was not renewed. Vicky Baker, the jail's cook, retired, 7/31/23. Congratulations. Buck Landers, Deputy Jailer, also retired, 7/31/23. Congratulations. Clayton Powell, Road Department, Labor, hired 7/17/23 at $21.08 an hour. Brian Dorrell, Deputy Jailer, termed 7/16/23. Chris Springer, Deputy Jailer, full-time, effective 7/14/23 at $15 an hour. Tracy Stevens, Deputy Coroner, termed 7/15/23. Deborah Riley, Deputy Jailer, retired 7/31/23. Congratulations. Joe Morris, Deputy Jailer, effective 7/20/23 at $15 an hour. Brian Dorrell, turned around and hired him. Deputy Jailer, effective 7/20/23 at $15 an hour. Jeff Daniel, part-time SRO to full-time, effective 7/31/23 at $26.52 an hour. And Brett Edwards, part-time to SRO, full-time, effective 7/31/23 at $26.52 an hour. Those are all of our July personnel changes.
Thank you. Next item, ordinance 2023-15, our admin code amendment. I'll ask for a motion to table that. We still have some more work to do on that before we're ready for a vote.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, Sheriff Office cameras. I spoke to Sheriff Hilbrecht about that a couple times, and we had Andy Lepstow go down and do an assessment and come up with, between he and the sheriff, come up with the areas that could use cameras on them for some extra security and surveillance, and need a motion to install those cameras. And Erica, the money for that's going to be,
It's going to be in the budget amendment that we're going to have a first reading for. It's going to come from excess carryover in the general fund.
that was something that wasn't in the sheriff's current budget, and felt the need to get that done, so. Could I have a motion for that, please?
Need the amount in there? Or no?
The budget amendment will
Up
have an
to-
amount into the line, but as far as the dollar amount for the cameras, do we have the exact dollar amount, including all of the wiring and?
Yeah, I think it was, does it have to be exact? I've got it on my email, I can check it if I do. Just a second. Come on. Okay, let's see here. $2,250. Good memory, Mr. Pagel.
When he gets the big bucks.
It's written on top of my notepad right here. Totally a coincidence. Yesterday's notes.
Okay. Is that included in the motion?
I move we approve the purchase of the sheriff's office cameras at $2,250.
Second.
Includes the licensing also on that.
Second that.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Outgoing sheriff's franchise tax settlement. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion second.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
No.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Incoming sheriff's franchise tax settlement. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motions are second.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance 2023-16, speed limit, Gore Lane, first reading. Mr. Pagel?
Okay, thank you. It is a speed limit ordinance, 2023-16, Commonwealth, Kentucky, County of Marshall. Be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County, the Commonwealth of Kentucky, in accordance with the provisions set forth in KRS 189.390, Section 5A, and based upon the request of affected citizens and after review by the Marshall County Road Superintendent and the Marshall County Sheriff, the Marshall County Fiscal Court does hereby set the speed limit at 25 miles an hour for Gore Lane located in Marshall County, Kentucky. The foregoing ordinance shall be published in the Tribune Courier on, we estimate, September 7th, 2023. First reading today.
Thank you. Ordinance 2023-17, garbage disposal at parks. First reading, I'm going to elaborate on that just a moment before he reads that. We've had a bad problem with people taking their household garbage and placing them in the trash bins at the day-use parks. And then there's not room for people going and coming off the lake to put anything in. It's creating a big mess for the Parks Department when they're cleaning the trash up, and we're very fortunate to have transfer stations we can use free of charge. They're conveniently located throughout the county, so highly encourage everyone to use those because once this is in place, we will enforce it. Mr. Pagel?
Okay, ordinance number 2023-17, it's an ordinance prohibiting the disposal of household garbage and commercial garbage at clearly marked locations and imposing penalties for violators. Whereas the Marshall County Fiscal Court is aware of problems caused by persons disposing of household garbage and commercial garbage at trash receptacles at one or more day-use parks, whereas such problems include, but are not limited to, trash bins overflowing, workers having to empty trash receptacles more than would otherwise be necessary, etc. Whereas the Marshall County Fiscal Court deems it necessary to take action to address this issue. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County as follows. Section 1, definitions. Litter, rubbish, refuse, waste material, offal, that's O-F-F-A-L, paper, glass, cans, bottles, trash, it's that word I learned, debris, or any foreign substance of whatever kind or description, and whether or not it is of value. Household garbage means any and all litter generated by persons from their residences, including any and all litter related to vehicle maintenance or repair. Commercial garbage means and all litter generated by persons from a commercial, business, or farm operation or venue. Section 2, the prohibited activities. It shall be unlawful for any person to dump or dispose of household garbage or commercial garbage in or about any public trash receptacle that is clearly marked with signage as prohibiting such dumping or disposal. The signage shall state in substantially similar terms, no dumping or disposal of household or commercial garbage. Violators are subject to criminal prosecution. All relevant evidence shall be considered in prosecuting a violation of this ordinance, including but not limited to whether or not the litter being dumped or disposed of was or had been placed in garbage bags prior to its dumping, or disposal at the location in question, the type or kind of litter in question, the size of the litter in question, the quantity of the litter in question, and whether or not it appears that the litter in question was generated at or near the location in question or some other area. Penalties, Section 3, the penalties. Any person who violates any of the provisions of this ordinance shall be guilty of a violation and shall be fined not less than $50 nor more than $500 for a first offense, and not less than $100 nor more than $500 for each second or subsequent offense. Any person convicted of violating this ordinance at the discretion of the Marshall County Fiscal Court be criminal trespassed and prohibited from entering or being upon certain county properties as determined by the Marshall County Fiscal Court. First reading, August 15th, 2023.
Thank you. Next item, ordinance 2023-18, budget amendment. Erica, if you would, please.
Ordinance 2023-18, an ordinance relating to the annual budget and amendment thereof. Whereas the County of Marshall has received additional funds, now be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County that Section 1, the annual budget for fiscal year 2023-2024 is amended to A, increase the following revenue accounts. General Fund cash balance July 1st, $6,547. General Fund miscellaneous, $1,000. Calvert plant reimbursement, $681.98. General Fund surplus equipment, $13,572.50. Sheriff Fund cash balance July 1, $64,962, for a total increase of revenue accounts of $86,763.48. B, increase the expenditure accounts as follows. OEM maintenance repair, $1,500. Capital project sanitation emergency repairs, $2,047. Other county buildings maintenance supplies, $3,000. OEM safety supplies and training, $1,000. OEM emergency notification software, Code Red, $681.98. Fiscal Court enterprise vehicle lease, $13,572.50. Sheriff admin expenses, storage container, $5,900. Sheriff deputy expenses, supplies, tasers, $49,312. Sheriff deputy expenses, equipment, SRT, $9,750, for a total increase of expenditure accounts of $86,763.48. Section 2, the amounts added to the revenue and expenditure accounts in Section 1 are for governmental purposes. Approved by the Marshall County Fiscal Court the 15th day of August, 2023.
Thank you. Board appointment, the IDA. I need a motion to appoint Roger Coburn to the Marshall County Industrial Development Authority Board to replace the term vacated by Jim Kahn. The term will expire 1/31/24.
So moved.
Motions or second?
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Do you need to add something else?
Oh, there was nothing really substantial. We just added the word any. Commercial garbage meaning any and all litter.
Okay. Next item, HMC service contract. I'd like to have a motion to terminate the preventive maintenance service agreement with HMC Service Company for the judicial building.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion?
Yeah, they're just not performing, are they, in a timely fashion?
It's been difficult. It's been difficult. We have a 30-day out clause in that, so if it passes, we'll exercise that and advertise it for bids again.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
for an annual contract?
Yes,
Yeah,
and that's
okay.
required by AOC on the preventive maintenance side of it.
Okay. Do we have to have that in place before we cancel the other one?
We probably will, yes. We'll make sure
We'll
that
work to line something up.
aligns so we
Yeah.
have something in.
Yeah, I just don't want to.
It is required by AOC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AOC requires it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item. Need a motion to advertise for bids for the judicial building HVAC preventive maintenance contract as required by Administrative Office Courts.
So moved.
Motions are second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Bid opening for road department culverts. Mr. Watkins, you're up.
We had 3 bids on the culverts. We had a total of 8 culverts. We had a couple gentlemen bid on 1 culvert each on his bid, and we had a gentleman, Matt Moorhead, would take all for $1,200. I recommend that we accept the bid, $1,200, Matt Moorhead.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Roy. Advertise for employee at the road department. I need a motion to do so, please.
So moved.
Motions, or second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Rural and municipal aid agreements and resolution. I need a motion to approve the agreements with the Transportation Cabinet of Rural and Municipal Aid for Sharkow Bridge and resurfacing of Holland and Sharp Elva Roads. One motion on that? Okay.
So moved.
Motions, or second?
Second.
Motion, second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's report.
All right, this is on your drive. It's for the month ending July 31st. You have the reconciliation page, an expenditure page, and a receipts page. Since this is a monthly report, this only goes to you. It doesn't go to the state. So you just accept it, not approve it.
Need a
Move to
motion to accept, subject to audit.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Transfers.
All right, there's only one transfer on here. It does have multiple lines, and that's just the way that we set it up, since it's moving from one fund to the other. So it is a transfer from our general fund investments to our line of credit FEMA reimbursable expenses. We have gotten our invoice for the debris cleanup, so we'll pay that, and we'll get that reimbursed by NRCS. And once it's reimbursed, we'll amend in the difference that we have there and replace these funds. There's also a transient tax transfer, $7,823.82.
Need a motion to approve the appropriation transfer?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Our bank transfers, I have a transfer from the general fund to the jail fund, and that is for an auto deposit that was made by the state for House Bill 556 funds. The other 3 transfers are from occupational tax to 3 of the funds that are budgeted subsidies.
Need a motion to approve the bank transfer?
So moved.
Motions, or second?
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. One thing I'd just like to bring up for a second, Cambridge Shores, there's about a 20-acre tract of property up there, very close to Morris Camp Road. I'm working with TVA on going through the paperwork, environmentals and all that. That will be cleaned up at some point. We're making progress on that. I received another email from them yesterday. So that is in the works. The wheels move slow, so we'll get there. Payment of the bills. Need a motion to pay the bills, please.
Motion to pay the bills. Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to go into executive session to discuss litigation and personnel per KRS 61810, 1C and F.
So moved. Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, call this Marshall County Fiscal Court, August 15th, 2023, meeting back to order. I just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.